originally. So I think my family wasn't really musical per se. My dad had a guitar. He'll bash at it a couple of times, and that was it basically. There was no other musical instruments, or maybe music on the radio, but that would have been like Latin American music. So jazz wasn't a thing, or improvised music wasn't a thing at all. And maybe around the time when I was like 6, my dad forced my older brother, to learn how to play guitar, and he put him on a summer camp for guitar, and he put me in a Microsoft PowerPoint and Word summer camp for 2 years. And then after that, he brought a guitar teacher to the house for my brother, and it just took I think a year for the teacher to realize that it was the other way around, and I actually wanted the lessons. So I took it from there, and eventually that same dude showed me Santana, like the guitarist, and I think I was maybe 10, and he made me transcribe and learn like all the solos and stuff, and then showed me videos of Santana playing live, and I was like, oh, all of that's wrong, like he's not playing the solos right. And he was like, no, he's creating new stuff, and like it opened just like my head, and I was like, oh, you can do that. And I just got really involved into trying to aim for that, right, to like be able to create a bit of music without just learning solos. And it must have been at least, I don't know, until I was 17 or 16, that in Peru it's not really, or at least at that point it wasn't a place where you could go and study music. It wasn't seen that good or that as a bright idea, let's say. And I was forced in a way to go to college, and I did like 1 year of engineering, which was great in a way. But then I got a scholarship to go to Brazil. And I was in the Berkeley Partner School there for 2 years. But again, it was incredible. It was straight ahead, like the level is really high, and it was straight ahead full on into Brazilian music and jazz. And I managed to then transfer all the way to Dublin. For a while, as probably many guitarists of my generation, I remember the first time I listened to like Kurt Rosenwinkel or any of the modern guys, and that was probably the first week of college in Brazil, because my teacher Lupa Santiago gave me a list of CD codes from the library. He was like, get these 10 or 20 CDs, listen to them, and then come back to me. And the first one I got was I think either The Next Step or the one with the orchestra from Portugal. And it just blew my mind, because up to that point I knew what a guitar could do or was supposed to do with like Wes and George Benson and all of them, but I hadn't heard that other approach that maybe combined some of the stuff I had done as a kid that didn't come from jazz. And it maybe was like a year full on of like trying to imitate and do as many things as Kurt would do. And I came across an album from Seamus Blake, live at Smalls with the quintet, and the guitarist was Lage Lund, and I just I didn't understand how it was so perfect and so different. And it started, if that was, let's say, 2015, there were 10 years of my life that I just really dedicated to try and understand what he does and how he does it, to the point that it brought me to, I went to do a master's in the Netherlands, and my whole topic for the master's was studying him for the sake of, trying to get my own musical persona a bit more developed. And it brought me into going to New York and studying with him for like a year every week. So that was one of the highest influences I have. And I'm still I consider him as a massive part of my sound. But I'm maybe in a bit of a detox now, just in case. But I think through the time, I don't know, people that have really marked me besides the guitar side of things. The first time I heard Maria Schneider was massive. It again opened up what the sound of jazz and like an ensemble that big would be in my head. Who else? Shorter. The first time I heard that again, it's the ones that broke the mold for me of the stereotype of what you should do with this set of people and this set of skills. The name of the release is The Sounds of the Blue Book. It's a project that started in 2022 when I was appointed musician in residence in Tonleary, and it delves with the life story of Roger Casement, an Irishman that, among many things, as a humanitarian, he helped abolishing slavery in the rubber farms in the Amazonian region of Peru back in 1910. And he wrote these diaries called the Blue Book, which is the accounts for everything that happened and all his experience. So I was able to read some of that, and based on that write a suite of music that connects or maybe expresses my view of those, let's say, what happened at that point through his eyes. And I was super lucky that I had a place. We could use the theater for as many days as we wanted, and I could appoint it whoever I wanted to record. So at that point, I had already recorded my first debut album, and I knew that I wanted to play with somebody from Ireland that I hadn't played before, and that was Matthew Jacobson. We had played before, and this was the first time that I really wanted to play my music. And then my longtime collaborator, Lorenzo Vitola, he's Italian but lives in Switzerland, pianist, incredible pianist. And it was really cool because I had the players before I even had the music. So I could just write specifically for them. And like anything that was written for that suite was inspired by the story, but written for their skills and how much we can push them in a way. The tour for this album only comes really now here in Ireland, because this time I took my time to just make sure everything was right, that the artwork was done by an incredible artist from Peru, that every single thing has fallen into piece. And we toured Peru actually last year, thanks to Culture Ireland. And this year we're doing the tour and the actual album release here in October. So the album comes out on the 20th of September, and we're touring, let me see if I remember. The 2nd of October is the Riverbank, 3rd of October is the Unitarian Church in Dublin, the 5th is the old church in Cushendun up north. That's the place where the hometown for Roger Casement. And the other places are also relevant to his story. We're doing 2 gigs in Kerry, because that's where he was captured in Manastran. So we're playing Tralee, and we're playing the Blasket Centre, and then we're finishing in Longford in the Backstage Theatre. We are touring with Matthew and Lorenzo for the first 3 gigs, and then Matthew is a busy man. So we have the pleasure of having another person that I collaborate with here in Ireland, Michael McCarthy, to step in for the other 3 gigs at the end. The compositional side of things, it was a bit of a challenge in a way, or like a different type of adventure itself, because I had to get to know what is Amazonian music like? How can I use that, not just to copy and paste something, but to inspire whatever I was writing? Then I could, because I had the musicians, I could ask, let's say, Matthew, can you play anything melodic? And he was like, oh, I can play some vibraphone. I was like, okay. So anything I wrote would have him at some points playing drums and like glockenspiel on the left hand at the same time. So there's some of that. And then Lorenzo's playing. We've played together before. He understands my approach, and I know what he can do and how to push him. So some of the stuff that I compose is intricate, but I know he can handle it. So the music is inspired by, let's say, my compositional approach. The story itself, it has lots of narrative. Like when you listen to the music, especially when we do it in like live, we give this little script or like a booklet to people that has little excerpts from the Blue Book and my explanation towards the music regarding that. And it's just it changes the approach and how you listen, because now you have a picture in your mind or a story to follow. And it affects a lot how I wrote the music in, because it follows that kind of narrative. So once you hear the whole music, it's really influenced by that. Even the first piece of it is an actual Amazonian, God knows how old of a tune that I just expanded, and it's a tune that women would sing so that the hunters would have good luck on their endeavors. So like we always start with that just as a good luck omen, let's say. So there's loads of that kind of influence, and Peruvian music at some point, I want to say, because it's something that I have studied and lived through. So it just sips through whatever type of music I write. I had like 6 months to write it, And then we had a week of rehearsals that we were 9 to 5, basically in the Lexicon. We'll just go, we left all the instruments and we'll play the music for a week. And then we did a open free gig the very last night. And we got Adrian Hart, a sound engineer, and he used to work with the National Concert Hall, to just do the sound but also record it. So the album itself is the live gig we did at the end of the residency. A friend that I play with in Spain told me that now he's only recording albums that way because there's something different. Like when you go to the studio, you always have that thing of like, I can do it again, or it's not perfect, and that gets in your head a little bit, and then like the whole take would maybe not be perfect. When you're doing it live, it's like, fuck it. Like that's all I have, so let's just go for it. Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish, but it really gives an energy that you don't get in the studio. Changed a lot. Like when I came, you couldn't go on here or listen to jazz every night of the week, when now I'm pretty sure you can. Like things were maybe more reserved and there were less people really trying to keep the scene going, when now you have way much more different groups parallelly trying to push things, you know what I mean? And that can only mean that, first of all, there is a scene that is growing and that it's only going to get better. And that right now there's more people actually interested in listening to jazz, whatever jazz means, you know what I mean? Like it's such an ample term that it's many things right now. But yeah, it's definitely a scene that I feel it's growing and it's getting places and it will get better. I don't know how much I want to plug them yet, but like right now I'm juggling that project. Then I'm sitting on like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 albums that haven't been released. So we recorded, my debut album was with these wonderful people from all over the world that I met when I was in the Netherlands and New York. So we've recorded another one, and we've recorded another one live while we were touring. Those two need to come out eventually. Then I have a project with a friend from New York while I was living there, another guitarist, and we've recorded an album and signed with a label from New York, and that will only come out in a year and a half, I think. And then we've just recorded an album with Michael McCarthy and Aidan Gray, specifically of super old like Andean music from Cusco, where Machu Picchu is. Because I'm doing a PhD on specifically rhythms and taking that culture as an example of these complicated, weird rhythms. And we've taken the time, almost a year, to really delve into the ins and outs of that swing and that type of music. And we've managed to open it up to a bit of like improvised music and, you know, this maybe social interaction of sorts. And that should come out hopefully in a year, around that. So yeah, I'm juggling all of that and this album as well. So like it's all these projects, but hopefully the main priority is I need to finish a PhD and become a music doctor.